Welcome to the one-on-one with Kevwe Modupe.
That's why they close. They quickly take their uniform off because they are vulnerable.
There is no way, from the layman's point of view.
Thank you very much, to come and do their wirefare down and their what the R V in mafia manager called Yaka from the Titikapi became a worse godfather than every other.
Good morning, guys. I know at this point in time we should be expecting the breakfast show on TSN Nigeria TV. But guess what? We are having an abridged version of the breakfast show because we'll be having the one-on-one with Kevwe Modupe and the breakfast show in all. As announced yesterday, I'm having a special guest with me on the show today, and that's the person of Honorable Osaigbovo Tony Iyua, the special advisor to the governor on political matter. I do start. You're welcome, sir. So we're moving straight to the newspaper review now. I will be starting with the Observer and to be taken by Honorable Osaigbovo.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Kevwe Modupe.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Good morning, sir.
So we're starting from the Nigerian Observer.
Yes.
I think the big one here is APC structure in Edo family under Obaseki's control by the aide to the governor, Mr. Kruso Osaige.
To go with that, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's move straight to the Vanguard. What we have there is hot words as Oshomole Obaseki's feud worsen. He's jealous of my soaring popularity, says Oshomole. Once Edo police commissioner against being used. Obaseki, this one is coming from Obaseki now. Observe protocol when visiting. Stop using dogs. Now, and that's a better footing for us to start the conversation this morning. Politics is supposed to be something that will bring people to power. At the end of the day, whoever gets it should be consigned with governance. Not just governance, good governance.
Yes.
But that's not what we are having at the moment. We're having a situation when politics is dividing the states, not just the states, dividing your party, and at the end of the day, we're having a situation when this might affect governance. Let's start off. What is happening between Governor Obaseki and his political father? Or maybe I use mentor now, his political father, Comrade Oshomole.
Well, thank you, Kevwe. Let me quickly just correct one impression you just, something you just said. Whatever is happening within the APC in Edo is not affecting governance.
Okay.
And it won't, because there is this, the intention is to divert the attention of the governor from governance, but he's not falling for that. Because you know the election season is coming very, very soon. It's crazy when you look at what is happening in Edo, because Bayelsa is going to election in a month. Same thing with Kogi, and then you don't have them on the front pages of newspapers. But we have Edo because there is this group that has created a fiefdom around governance in all these years of democracy. And they feel this sense of ownership. Let me use that word. That is their turn. It has always been theirs. They've always been at the corridors of power. And then because they are not there today, and in the last 2.5 years since Obaseki became governor, they want to pull the roof down. It's sad. This is what we call friendly fire. You know, it's a crisis within the party because they realize that in just over 2.5 years, the governor has done almost what the past administration did in 8 years. The man is so popular wherever you go to. So what do they resort to? They want to distract him because they know that if it gets to next year, the popularity of the man will soar to a level where they cannot stop him. But the man is not perturbed. He's not looking at. His eyes on the ball, firmly on the ball. So that is why you see all this noise they're making. You can see that recently the man said that nobody should respond to Oshomole because it's supposed to be within the family. But they have said they want to bring the roof down. But Ours is, as political advisor I am today, ours is to take them on the political side, where the governor concentrates on governance. So
now, one of the things they've accused your principal of is that he's not playing the politics of inclusiveness. That these are the guys that brought him to power. That on assumption, okay, when he assumed duty, he decided to sideline them and decided to bring his own cronies to run the system. So let's hear your take on that, please.
Well, they would normally fill the space with falsehoods. You know, you have to give a dog a bad name to hang it. If inclusiveness means for Edo people not to have good roads, or for our children not to learn well in school, then I don't think it's a good word. If inclusiveness means that we should stock all the money and pack the whole money, like what the governor calls the money for the CDM, and we should come and give it to one individual because he believes that he brought the governor to office. Well, that is too sad, that in the 21st century, people still think like this. Because you mentioned cronies just now. When they say cronies, I wonder what they're talking about. In the 21st century, it is very, very sad that those people that say they were the vessel that brought the governor to office, in the 21st century, they are complaining that the governor has brought computer boys to Edo. So computer in the 21st century has become a sin. And who are the boys that they are talking about? They'll tell you outsiders, go to government house, go and find out the people that are working. They are all Edo people, 95%. A couple of years ago, I was an aide to the Bayelsa State governor. So if I wasn't locked out, because I am not Bayelsa, so the one or two people that come to work with the governor, why would I want to lock them out in Edo? For Christ's sake, this is Nigeria. They will say they were the vessel via which the governor came to office. Who didn't work for the governor? You have staffs here. A lot of them worked for the governor. When I say they worked for the governor, they voted for the governor. They have one vote, the way I have one vote. We all worked for the governor. So this whole facade and all this charade that they are doing is just for one thing. It's for their stomachs. And for Christ's sake, we are telling them that gone are those days. This same mistake, 4 years ago, we made the mistakes as a party in Nigeria as a whole. We came into government and we were still acting as if we were the opposition. That is the federal government. Everything we kept on blaming past administration. We kept on blaming one reason or the other for not performing. We were still behaving as if we were the opposition in 2012. I mean, when it was 2015, we had won the elections. So if these characters and comrade at the beginning empowered individuals who became stronger than the state, those are the people he calls the infantry division today. The infantry, yes, we were at war, if he calls it so. But for Christ's sake, the war is over. Now that we are the federal, we are the state, what do we need the infantry division for? I mean, we should start thinking of how to build from there. It's like going to the farm. When you start, you till the soil, and then you plant. And then next thing, you start taking care of weeds and all that. So you cannot keep on tilling the soil as if you want to plant.
Now, let me ask you this question, because you said something about their stomach, the stomach infrastructure, that the governor is not in for anything that has to do with stomach infrastructure. Now, let me ask this question. A lot of these guys are accusing the governor that when it was time for the election in 2016, they used a lot of their funds to ensure the governor gets into power. It's only, as far as politics is concerned, don't you think there's what they call reward system in politics? Once if you work for the government and you get into, because I believe politics is give and take. It's a situation when if I'm able to bring you into power, if there's nothing else, I should be able to get contracts if I'm qualified to get those contracts.
Look, they can tell you that outside.
Okay.
I can tell you. They should tell us where they made money from. They should tell us where their farms are. They should tell us which business they did before coming into politics. Where did they get the money from? Their monies? It was money that they got from this government. Look, let me, for example, some of them that are outside singing songs and making all sorts of noise against the governor. They were collecting revenues from this government. From the last government, I'm sorry to say. On a monthly basis, this state in the past, the whole state, 18 local governments, the highest money we ever got at JAC, that's the joint account, the local governments now that I'm talking about, you understand? The highest money the local governments ever generated for the state was 33 million naira. Oredo, which is the biggest, the most cosmopolitan local government, the highest money they ever brought forward from their revenues was 1.5 million. Monthly. Today, as we speak, from 1.5 million, Oredo is generating between 60 to 70 million on a monthly basis. Where's the balance going to? Where did this money come from? And do not forget, in the past, these guys were collecting over 500% of what is being collected today. So if today we are making an average of 200 million revenue from the local governments, and then before now we're making 33 million, you see reason why this madness is going on. Because it is no longer business as usual. We know what the government, look at what is going on in our schools. You know, these monies are being put to judicious use for our people. You can see it, you go to the markets, you go to the schools, you go to, wherever you go to in the state, everybody tells you something is happening here. This is not the Edo we left some years ago. So if you see the difference between 33 million and 200 million, you would know why the whole place, they are all shouting, hey, Obaseki, Obaseki this, Obaseki that. Have you ever asked them, what is the man's crime?
Okay, I think that would lead us to the next question I want to ask you. When Comrade conducted an interview in Abuja sometime last month, he said something about the issue of continuity. That's when it was time to campaign. I actually campaigned for you because you gave me the impression that you are going to continue from where I stopped. But come on, when this guy got, when the governor, his excellency got no power, he deliberately decided to discontinue almost all the projects that he ought to have continued. So what's your take on this, sir?
Yes, continuity. I told you before. Except the dictionary has new meanings for some of these words that he's using, I begin to wonder what he's talking about. Continuity, yes. We said we'll continue in the part that he set on ground that there's no more godfatherism.
Okay.
Are we not continuing?
Okay, so that's the only one.
That's one. No, that's not the only. We have continued on that part. We said we were going to build good roads for Edo people. He started it. Are we not building good roads? We are building more roads for Edo people. Mm-hmm. He started the Red Roof Revolution, building schools with the hardware. We have continued on that part with creating the software, which is the teachers. Is that not continuity? The continuity we will not do is to bring back those former state actors that were giving us 1.5 million as against 70 million that we are getting today. We cannot continue on that part because it is not to the good of the generality of the people. So, I mean, my brother, you see, you're online. This show right now is being watched all over the world, several continents. We should be able to subconsciously, we think, and then sometimes we talk to our people. Because you see, the quality of graduates we are turning out in our universities today in Nigeria, if you compare it to what is happening in other parts of the world, you have to get scared. Because if you look at Nigeria's population, a population of over 200 million people, and then we are still concentrating on things like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. When people have already gone far in America, they are talking about artificial intelligence and all those things. They are thinking of how to find solutions to real problems, how to get apps, to arrange feeding for the disabled and those that cannot come out of the houses. Yeah. When you know where we are going to, you start getting worried about how the Nigerian politician thinks. Because tomorrow is pregnant. And then, we have serious problems in Nigeria. It's a pity that most of the governors in this country, that can tell you to Todd, do not see where we are going to. Because we have a real crisis in Nigeria when you can no longer travel from Abuja to Kaduna by road. When you can no longer travel from Benin to Lagos by road. It's a serious problem. Because if you look at, let me tell you something that you might not know today. The 78% of the population of this country are those between the ages of 1 to 29. We have to start thinking of how to cater for these people. Because if we don't, we are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Yeah. Because these are the workforce, and these are the same people that are impoverished, that are gotten out of school, and they don't have jobs. So we should start thinking about them. The politicians, we are sitting down comfortably today. We do not know, or we are not thinking of what is going to happen tomorrow.
We're not futuristic.
We are not futuristic.
Okay.
And there is a great danger in that. Because by the time these kids, 1 to 29, today, by the time they get to 30, or even before then, they don't have anything to do. And you see this volume I'm talking about, 78%. If we don't plan for them, we're in serious trouble.
Now, I'm going to ask you this question, based on the previous answer you gave me before now.
Yes.
Now, it's discovered that in the past administration, there are a lot of state actors that embezzle state funds.
Yes.
What is your principal doing about it? If you feel these guys, like we have the issue of the Waterstone project that is online, where we're shouting 30 million was expended, nothing was got billion, 30 billion was expended, nothing came out of the project. If really those accusations, if really you feel the government feels that something fraudulent took place, what is it doing about it? Why has it not set up a commission of inquiry to get these guys to come answer questions?
The government has, the way you have, the government does not have to prompt or preempt anybody to do his job. We have the Nigerian police, we have the EFCC, we have the ICPC, and all those other agencies. And I think the onus now lies on them to do their jobs. It is not the governor's job to do that. Yes, there was a water project, which, by the way, they tell you that it has been abandoned. The project is ongoing. Recently, we posted some pictures online of the project. You understand? Yes, it was a laudable project, or it is a laudable project. But they come out here to tell you that it was abandoned, Central Hospital. They are just looking for a bad name to give to a dog so they can hang it. Those projects are ongoing. So, but it doesn't stop the ICPC or EFCC from doing their jobs and all that.
But others, we've seen other state governors, what they do when they get into power, they discover things like this. They set up a commission of inquiry to want to investigate what happened and to see if there are ways for them to recoup some of these funds. So why are you getting that?
I do not know. Let me not get ahead of myself. I do not. I only see it on social media. I do not know whether this particular project has been declared as a fraud or not, or whether it's what we just see on social media.
Because a lot of persons, they feel the reason why your principal is not raising an eyebrow as far as this project is concerned is because as at when the previous government was in power, your principal was the economic advisor. So they feel that it's part of this whole thing that happened.
Well, like I said some minutes ago, it's the issue about that project. I've not been fully briefed on it, whether it's what we just see on social media.
Okay.
You understand? So, but trust me, the Edo State government under Obaseki has zero tolerance for fraud, for thuggery. You can see recently some local government chairmen, they beat the dust.
Okay.
Because it was found that they had some issues regarding corruption and fraud in their councils.
Now, that brings me to my next question. There's a Supreme Court judgment on that the state government does not have the right to sack local governments chairmen because these guys were democratically elected. So don't you think your principal, because you are the political advisor to the governor, don't you think your principal is going overboard by sacking a democratically elected
As the governor sacked any chairman?
Suspended.
I think there's a difference between sack and suspension.
Okay.
So I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so they've been suspended, and you feel the governor had the right to suspend this?
Well, except you show me where we have to be very, very
detailed.
Detailed, you understand?
Okay.
Where it was written that.
And because a lot of persons, they feel that the local government chairman that the governor is suspending, they are the ones that are perceived, because we have reports online that some of these local government chairmen, they are romancing with the EPM. I'm not going to call the full name now because we have so many definitions of EPM online. So with the EPM, those on the other side of the divide. Now that once you are discovered to be romancing with EPM, you are due for suspension.
Well, is EPM a legal entity per se within a party?
I should be asking.
It's not.
I'm not in the APC.
It's not. But however, you know, Governor Godwin Obaseki, you know, I want to tell you, don't always look at what you see on social media. Because there are a lot of misrepresentations of facts and all that, you know. Some of them could be true, some others are misleading, and others are outright falsehood. So I would advise that the only content you take that is coming from this government is the one you hear directly from him, or via his media aides, that's Kruso Osaigi and the commissioner of information. You know, otherwise, you know, some of them are you just read them and.
Because most times we discover sometimes this information from the Bush radio, they turn out to be true.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they turn out to be true.
Not always.
Because there's a saying that you're sleeping at night and you hear it's a native.
There is no chairman, okay, I will tell you, under Obaseki's watch that would be removed out of political reasons. First things first, let me tell you. We have 18 local government councils. Out of those 18 chairmen, I can tell you today that 90% came the way the House of Assembly members came. They were from one source, the same way the commissioners came. So if he's going to start sacking chairmen based on that, I think all of them will go. I can tell you 90% came via the same one man.
It's possible they came from one man and they now had to realign. Maybe they had to realign with the government.
Do people do that?
Yes, they do. You can actually realign. You understand me? Because I might have a lot of notion about Honorable Bobo. Yeah. But when I come to meet you in person, I say, come on, this guy is not what they tell me he is. And I'll realign. So once you discover I'll realign, then I should stay in the company. Because a lot of us will believe that the commissioners that were sacked, these are men that were perceived to be loyal. So, Comrade Adams Oshomole.
I told the same thing. I go back to what I just said. 90% of all the commissioners, we all know. 90% of all the political appointees, all, they came from Comrade. So if you say out of 18 chairmen, only 4 have been asked to go and, most of them go home, because you cannot be a judge in your own case. You know, corruption cases have been put forward. Just take a break so that, you know, independently we can look at it without.
So, however, I know when you were coming here, there's this question you were expecting I'm going to ask. I decided to save it for the last.
Okay.
And that is the issue of the State House of Assembly.
Wonderful.
Before you became you were a former member of the State House of Assembly. Not just the chief whip, not just the chief whip, a very formidable member of the House, very vocal. A lot of the activities we see go on there, you were actually part of it. Yeah. Now, even before you became the political advisor to the governor, I didn't congratulate you on that.
No, you didn't.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Even before you became the special advisor to the governor on political matters, we saw the role you played as far as the formation of the State House of Assembly is concerned. There are pictures online that showed you were there during the inauguration. How did you get your invitation? Because I wasn't invited to the inauguration. And you're not among the members that were elected. How did you get the invitation? So why would they invite invite Honorable Bovo and Kevwe Modupe. I see the media will not be invited for that inauguration.
Thank you, Kevwe. You see, you know, I got my first degree in mechanical engineering. Okay. I have a master's degree in industrial engineering. Mm-hmm. So I'm a trained engineer. Mm-hmm. You know, actually, we just installed new microphones in the House of Assembly when I was a member in the last days of the House of Assembly. So as an engineer, when the team that came from Lagos to install, when they came in to do the job, a lot of our, because we have had serious issues with the systems. Okay. We've installed one prior to that time, it didn't work well, and then we realized that there were issues with the control room. So I was actually there on that day because they already had issues trying to fix the mics, and they weren't working. And then they had to call me, the clerk of the house called me. So we are having the same problems again. Or these are our staffs, a lot of them don't, you understand. You know, civil servants, they don't pay detailed attention when those kind of installations. But moreover, the equipments are new equipment, new technology and all that. So that was why I was called in to help them, you know, sort them out, and so that the microphones could work. And that was why I was in the house. So
it was during the process of fixing the microphones that the inauguration took place. So now, as a former member, because reports, though confirmed, some unconfirmed, show that that inauguration actually took place at night. During your inauguration, I want to ask you now, to look at the cameras and tell us the procedure that led...
Which one should I look at?
Anyone. I want you to look at the cameras. I want you to look at the cameras and tell us...
Which one? This?
Yes, this camera. And tell us the process that led to...
maybe I should move my chair towards it.
That led to your inauguration as a member of the Edo House of Assembly. The process.
Good. Let's not go too far.
Okay.
You understand? You know, the last assembly it wound up on the 7th of June. And then, as old members that were leaving the house, we had a series of meetings with the new members. I wanted to listen very well. We had a series of meetings with new members, the party structure. The way it is done is when we're coming in, it has precedence. The party calls us and tells us about zoning, who gets what, based on what is happening at the executive and in the judiciary and all that, you know. There were meetings. There were agreements. You understand? Of let's go do this, let's go. But because some people had already, they had plans to cause crisis and give the governor a bad name, there was an agenda.
Prior to the inauguration.
Prior to the inauguration. So everywhere was heating up. You understand? There were meetings, further meetings to discuss. This is the reason why it should be like this. It is not new. You understand? So there were threats of impeaching the governor. There were threats. People had ulterior motives. So because of the heat that had already been created, it is what led to whatever happened. I don't want to go into too much details because it's a party thing. You understand? And it's a crisis that we are still trying to resolve. But don't forget, the last inauguration of the House of Reps, it started with, it was Sunday, don't forget, with the Senate. The Senate started this whole process, elected its officers, and it came to an end around 2 in the afternoon. And then the House of Reps, which we refer to as Dugbe Market, which had 360 plus members, started. When was Femi Gbajabiamila inaugurated? When were the last 20-something members of Bauchi State Assembly, when were they inaugurated? what matters is, when does the process start? The process started in the afternoon. They contacted the other members. They did not show up. They were waiting for them. They would soon show up. They would soon show up. When it became apparent that they were not going to come, they were not going to stop the hands of the clock from turning.
So that's why it has to span into the night.
And anyway, it's already a matter before the courts, and the courts have already made some pronouncements on it. So I don't want to talk too much so that it won't be sub judice.
Okay. So in a nutshell, you feel that the house was properly...
I don't feel. I know.
That the house was...
Kevwe Modupe, I know. The governor has issued a proclamation.
Okay.
The court has claimed that he doesn't have the power to issue a fresh proclamation. I want to ask you a question. For example, on that day of that inauguration, these members that were there, 10 of them or 9 of them on that day, when they got there and they were now waiting for the others. And then if, for example, they were coming, the others were coming from Abuja where they are presently holed up there now. And then the Benin Auchi Road cut into 2 for some reason, and then they couldn't make it to Benin. Would that stop the inauguration from holding or make the inauguration illegal? So we are begging our brothers, they are still there in Abuja. If the people really voted for them, if they say they are representing the people and they are not fighting for their stomachs, Edo State, the president has already presented his 2020 budget as we speak. The Edo State budget is coming in November. If they say they are representing their people, they know that they have an input in that budget. It means that their constituencies are going to be losing. And these are people that say they are representing the majority of the people in their constituency who yearn for the dividends of democracy. People that don't have water, just pipe-borne water to drink. People that don't have roads. People that want roads to their farms so that they can bring out their wares for sale. If they are representing those people, why are they not here to fix the problems, the yearnings of their people in the budget so that the people can get the dividends of democracy?
As a former member of the House of Assembly,
yes,
or State of Assembly, if these guys have not showed up for more than 90 days now, if not more than 90 days, what is the right thing to do?
Well, like I said, I'm an engineer, I'm not a lawyer.
Okay.
You understand?
But the House of Assembly, the National Assembly, they came to try to come into the issue and try to resolve the issue. They made a lot of recommendations.
Yes.
I want to ask you, as a political advisor to the executive governor,
yes,
those recommendations made by the National Assembly that the governor should issue, for the sake of peace, he should issue another proclamation later. Don't you think, for the sake of peace, that part should be told?
Who made the National Assemblies lords and principals over the State Assembly in the first place? The National Assembly was set up to uphold the Constitution. And then, who are they serving by coming to now try to dismember and destroy the Constitution? The Constitution says the governor shall issue a proclamation. It's in the singular. And the court has affirmed it anyway. So, for me, they just came here. You know, extra codes are attached to these things when you travel out of your state and all that. And then, of course, they have to show loyalty and appreciation.
But there was an issue with
for their positions
the
that they
medium
got
of
from
communication of this letter. Because during your inauguration,
yes,
a lot of us
yes,
we were privy to the letter and when inauguration would take place.
Let me tell you.
There was a lot of fanfare.
No. Wait, Kevwe. Let me tell you something that we have to get very straight. There was tension in this state. Don't forget, they had already gone to a press conference. Mm-hmm. They had done a press conference to say, we will bring the house down, the governor must do this, the governor must do that. You understand? Some of them were already threatening the clerk. He has text messages. You understand? There was tension in the House of Assembly. The staffs were, every day they go to work, they are afraid. Because they said they were coming to collect the maize and then do this, do that. You understand? So, those things that happened prior to, during, and after the inauguration, whichever decision was taken was to maintain law and order.
Honorable, let me come in here. The press conference was held that same day the inauguration took place.
Very true.
Good. Now, that was not the day the clerk got the letter of proclamation. And
was it not?
That was not the day. He got it 13th. I think he got it 13th. Inauguration was actually 17th. He got it before now.
Okay, I don't
because
know.
Okay, good. So
no,
there
was no way the distance was going to be that far.
Okay, but there's no, there's no way the clerk would get the letter of proclamation that same day and inaugurate the house that same day. If that's the case, really? I think there's an issue.
If people have been coming to your house and then be shouting and threatening you, for example, we are not conceding.
Okay.
We are just saying, for example, let's just think so that if people could come and then they are shouting, they are going to go and kidnap your child or your wife, if you don't do this, if you don't do that. You understand? Desperate times require desperate measures. You understand? I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm just saying, for example, you understand? If the clerk got the letter, the clerk has already also told us, I watched it via social media, because I wasn't around at the time. The clerk said, when he was talking with the Senate committee, that he called everybody. So do not forget, the guilty are always afraid. You understand? They did a press conference, and then some of them left the press conference to go for inauguration. So probably the ones that felt that they were the protagonists of this crisis. You know, people think differently. It's not, I cannot respond to an issue the same. I don't expect you to respond to the issue the same.
Okay.
Some of them could have said, oh, if we go to this place now, people will say, we don't fuck up. Or something, follow, let's stand. You know how the group thing is. Out of 12, there's always what you call it. I don't want to use the word, you know. Those people, when they called it, there was probably power of persuasion. And then you also, these people, they have wives, they have families. Your friend could have told you, don't go. And then your wife tells you, you must go. Or your mom calls you, look, go. So we know why some of them did not come.
Okay, now, you see, we saw
why they have not come.
Now, you saw the headlines this morning from these dailies we read.
Yes.
The state's, the national chairman came into town.
Yes.
And some youths or supporters, they're perceived to be on the other side, which is the side of the executive governor. They went to his house to protest.
We have freedom of association in Nigeria. We have right to protest. If people went to his house to protest, he was a protester.
And it was
forgotten that the national chairman got his prominence from protests.
And it is believed that these guys were sponsored by your principal.
Sponsored.
Because he's feeling threatened that the national chairman is coming to town too often. Maybe he's coming to mobilize infantry.
Is this not the same man that they said is very, very stingy, doesn't give out money? How come he's sponsoring protesters?
But what is on ground now, what people are saying is that this man is now the governor, because when he entered office, the governor gave the impression that he is not a politician, he's a technocrat. That he's going to be consigned as far as he's going to be concerned with governance and not politics.
Impressions are very deceptive.
So a lot of persons are...
The governor, let me tell you the truth, the governor they underrated the governor. They thought they would just pick him by the neck like this, and then they just toss him out. So who is the politician now?
Because a lot of people believe that it's desperation to get a second-term ticket that is making the governor to go into politics. Now, that is not his game. And they believe that it's people like you, the political advisor, that is giving the governor, that they're embodying the governor to do what is happening in the state.
Kevwe Modupe, since when did... you use one word, I'm trying to pick a word.
Okay.
You use desperation. No? Since when did ambition become a crime?
Okay.
I want to be the
ambition
governor.
Is not a crime.
I want to become the governor of Edo State in 2020. Is that a crime?
It's not a crime.
It's not a crime. So, if you are saying that it's desperation right, or his ambition that is making him do... He came in... We are the people that are saying Obaseki must run.
Okay, not the government.
If he says he doesn't want to run, I will take him to court in 2020. He must run.
He must run as
like you said, yes, we are the people that are saying he must run.
Okay, okay.
Because you go out there, go and ask, on your way downstairs, just stop 3 people and tell them that how do you want Obaseki to continue? and they will tell you 4 plus 4. So the national chairman, let me tell you, and buttress what is, national chairman is not a child. He should not come to town and then start gathering hoodlums who will hide behind that to start attacking the people because they have ulterior motives. And it's very stated in the statement from the government. If he's coming, he should tell us so that we can wait for him at the airport, clap for him the way we used to do.
Okay.
If they don't have other plans to come and face violence and crisis in the state, or to start holding meetings that are anti-party, if there is an issue in, for example, let me take President Muhammadu Buhari for example. If he has an issue with the state party chairman or the state party
in Katsina.
executive in Katsina, who will he call? Is he not Adam Soshomole, yes, national chairman?
Yes.
So that is the problem we have in our state now. Because the person that we are supposed to go and meet and tell that these people are engaging in anti-party, it seems to be the people that are engaging in anti-party are in bed with him. They are the people that are in his house, coming to cause crisis in the state. They are the people insulting. Is that not anti-party? That a member of the party will come out and start casting aspersion on the government of the day? You are supposed to be from the same. You can see that PDP has PDP was, in fact, dead as a party some months ago. But you can see them recently. Danobi is on the papers, is on news, he's talking. He's in the news, he's talking.
Because he believes that the house is divided. Yes, and he can't stand. Okay.
So when we want to report the people that are dividing the house, where do we go to now? We don't know where to go to.
And they are saying, the people on the other side are saying that it is your own side that is dividing the party in the state.
How are we dividing the party? Well, let me tell you something. Make no mistakes. This party that we are talking about today is one person that is the party. He's got a number secure. He is the party. He is the person that is APC.
The party leader or the party?
He is the party leader, #1 in the state. And then he as a person is the party. Is the attraction that people have to the party.
Now, I want to ask you a question. What is the role of the state, the APC state chairman in this whole fracas? Because despite the fact that we have a national chairman, the issue is not at the national level. The issue is at the state level. Okay. So what is the role
Thank you very much,
the APC chairman?
Thank you very much. The national chairman, he has election to run in Bayelsa, a terrain I know very well. He has another election to run in Kogi. Like I said, the tension that is generated here is 10 times more than what's going on in those states. You are not even seeing them. Look at both papers, whether you can see Kogi or Bayelsa there. Rather than concentrate there, we are coming here to grant.
No, the question I'm asking is this. The state APC chairman.
No, I'm coming.
What is it doing to resolve this issue?
The state APC chairman has spoken. Don't forget this position that is caused the House of Assembly problems in the first place, in the first instance. It's not the position of the governor. It's the position of the state APC. That this is how these positions should go.
You're talking about the general elections now?
No. This House of Assembly leadership crisis, which is at the base of all these problems. It was the position of the state party. It's not the position of Kevwe Modupe that Mr. A should be speaker because Mr. B comes from the same place that the national chairman is from. It wasn't Obaseki's position. It was the party's position. So if the crisis is ongoing, as it is now ongoing, stems from there, it shows that the state APC chairman is on a different trajectory with the national chairman. When they were choosing leadership for the National Assembly, was it not Oshomole that came out to say that this is our position, Mr. A should be speaker, Mr. B should be Senate president? Wasn't the person? If it happened at that level, and then the national leadership could give the leadership positions to these people, why is it different now? Why is the state chairman not able, via his working committee, to fix to say that this is the position of the party on the leadership of the assembly.
Now,
I want to know why.
In your stints,
you know, Kevwe, I think you should say something.
Okay, now I'll say something, but I want to ask you this question first. When you were in the House the State House of Assembly,
yes,
we had issue of zoning, and this zoning thing didn't work because we had a speaker that was from the same senatorial zone with the deputy governor.
Yes. You want to know what happened?
Yes.
Yes, because we already tried
to resolve the issue.
Is this you know why? I don't know why the people suddenly people change. First things first. When I was growing up, one of the first adages I knew was, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. We made a Edoro speaker. It was Adafre somebody that called us to government house to say, with the party chairman, say, this is our position. Edoro, for the first time, we had what we call speaker in waiting. Edoro did not lobby anybody, just sat down. He was the only person that was a second timer. He became speaker. They wrote it for us. Go and do it like this. But now the same man that wrote it for us that time is now telling us he wants to be more Catholic than the Pope now that you have to do this, you have to do that. Excuse me. We removed Edoro as speaker. Who gave us the document to remove Edoro as speaker?
Can I ask a question? You see, is this not an abnormality? What's happened to separation of power? We are supposed to have the executive, yes, the judiciary, and the legislative arm of government.
It is still there. It has always been there.
It's a situation when the executive have to dictate who becomes...
No, it's not. It's not dictate. It is what is on ground. Yes, the governor is already from here. Okay. The deputy governor is from here. So the convention, okay, it's a convention.
That's not codified anywhere. Yes. It's not codified anywhere, so we can't take that.
So you cannot take it in law, but it is fair play, spirit of fair play. Naturally, if the governor is from Edo South, the deputy governor is from Edo North, the speaker should come from Edo Central. But however, Edoro came in as speaker. It was the national chairman that told us that time he was governor to remove him. He gave us the document. Mm-hmm. And he's the same person that he wants to give to another governor to become speaker. Mm-hmm. So if there's no ulterior motive, then why? After Edoro, we had...
Is that not the reason why... I'm coming. Is that not the reason why the Edo State House of Assembly then was accused to be a Roman star? Yes, because essentially you are indicting me. You are indicting your
colleague. You are saying that you are giving a document. You wait, let me land. When you bring a document, okay, that will buttress my point, why would I accept it? We already did not want him anyway. Okay. But when we now still have evidence.
Is that not what the stamp means?
No. We already had our issues. Okay. And don't also do not forget, the House of Assembly, the common cliche, the minority will have its say, but the majority will have their way. I was not amongst the legislators that signed the initial day to remove Edoro. Okay. I was on Edoro's side.
Now, our time is fast spent. But you know what? When it comes to conflict resolution like this, you have to let some go, you have to accept some.
Yes.
The question I want to ask you is this. You had the advisor to the state governor on political matters.
Yes.
If you are given the right now or the responsibility of assisting the governor or assisting in resolving this issue, what would be your path of reconciliation?
We are still, as at just over a week ago, we met some of the honorable members. You understand? I met my brother Chris Okaibe. We met the members from Ovia. We sat down to brainstorm. Look, this is not about you. You are representing people. And this is where we have gotten it so wrong with Nigerian politics. It is supposed to be about the people. If the people that you are representing, they voted for you to go and represent, and then you owe them, you know that you owe them a duty, they gave it to you in trust. You will not sit down somewhere and start giving one or two conditions when your people have told you to come back. We have been talking to them. We are still talking to them. Come back, go and meet the speaker. The speaker is there. The governor has finished his job. The clerk has finished his job. The courts have said so. They are waiting for National Assembly. It's National Assembly. So If, for example, sir, somebody steals your land tomorrow in Benin, are you going to go and report him to the State House of Assembly, or are you going to take him to court?
Take him to court.
I rest my case.
Okay. It is on this note that I would like to wrap up this one-on-one media chat with Honorable Osaibovu Iyoa. Now, you're going to do us a favor, those of you watching us. It is not just for you to come to Facebook or YouTube to start watching this. Why not run to your Google Play Store or your iOS and download the TSA Nigeria TV mobile app so that whenever we have an interview like this, you will be notified of what we are currently streaming. It's on this note we would like to say thank you very much, Honorable.
Kevwe Modupe, thank you. And this is our cap.
Wow.
For the Obaseki 4.
But it's not yet time for campaign. So
no, we are not campaigning.
Okay.
We are just sensitizing.
Okay, sensitizing.
So this is for TSL.
Thank you. Okay, we keep receiving things like this on a daily basis. Thank you very much, sir.
Stay connected to TSL Nigeria and get updates on the go all day, every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on TSL Nigeria Space TV and join our online family.